Hey everybody, welcome to the video. Today we're going to talk about never giving up and why it's important to keep motivated through the tough times, and that there is brighter days on the horizon. For me, toughest times I started to go through were a relationship. It was my first real relationship, probably about, I'd want to say it was about 20 months. It was just about 2 years, and after the relationship, I'm telling you, I was in a funk like you wouldn't believe. And before I got in the relationship, I had had a nervous breakdown, just trying to deal with, the American culture and trying to make everybody love you, and doing exactly the opposite of what made me feel good in life. So, yeah, for about 2 years after we split up, it was, feeling sorry for myself, thinking, oh, I treated her bad. And I did treat her bad, I will say that. But, it takes two to tangle. It wasn't all on me. And, fortunately, when people say time heals, it's so true. It's not easy to. You just have a big storm come through your city, and people say, you'll get back to normal with time. It's not easy to listen to that person when you're looking around at a bunch of debris and your whole world's been turned upside down. But for me, it was the only thing that did heal. It was time, and the one thing I found out that ended up bringing me back to, I guess, a level playing field was all of my concerns were validated. I just had this weird feeling inside of me that something wasn't right, and turns out, I did a little bit snooping on her Facebook page one day, and I didn't like to do I never did shit like that, because I don't lie to myself. Like, you're snooping around, you kind of know that it's like, I've learned one of the most important things is, if you're looking to find something and you find it, don't be surprised when whatever you find gets you really upset. So ignorance is bliss. It's so true. So to get back to the theme, never giving up, though, I always had a real positive mindset about things, but it's one thing to pep yourself up and give yourself those little motivational talks, and then the natural chemicals in your body just always lead you back to feeling down and mopey and feeling sorry for yourself, and it's just a natural depression. I found out when I was snooping, I seen her ex-boyfriend was one of, her recommended friends or something. I recognized the name. I click on his page, and it said engaged to the person that was my ex, and it was, as much as it hurt when I seen that, it was like a 1,000,000-pound weight up my chest, because it's like, now I can finally forgive myself, because it's like, this girl's engaged. She was probably already about to get married, and it's like, for 2 years I sat there beating up myself, thinking, I was the bad dude, and da 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 da, and I had to make things right. And it's like, this girl moved out. I was probably just a side piece to her for those couple years, and she was trying to get away from whatever caused her and her, I guess, husband now to split up. And I wish them the best. I really do. I'll admit that some of my emotions throughout that time were really sporadic, and I did things that I don't respect that I did, but we can't go back in time, so I ended up getting in a little bit of trouble from that. Her ex-boy, or I should say I'm the ex-boyfriend now, but her ex at the time, which is now her husband, in my mind, I think he influenced her to, file some police charges and harassment stuff. And, the truth of the matter is it's easy for me to say I wasn't a threat or I wasn't out of control, but, other people feel how they feel, like, apparently when I get mad, I'm a pretty mean seeming dude, so it's tough to find that out too, because you want to believe you're a good person and that everyone feels the way you feel, but they don't. So anyways, getting back to the theme of never giving up, You know, when you're down on your luck and you're not doing what you need to do to be to where you are to feel how you want to feel, it's easy to look around and say, "Oh, it's out of my control. It's just too big of a world. It's nothing I can do about it." And that is the farthest from the truth. You are in control of everything inside of your life. Now, the level of control might not be the amount you want, but you know, try to say you're not in control after going and living in a third world country for a year. We have a lot of resources around here, and with the freedoms we're allowed in this country to start a business, to offer your services as a business, to pretty much take resources you find and sell them as yours is an amazing opportunity. So, me personally, I never gave up on myself, but when you're feeling in those ruts and you're so deep in the delusional mindset of poor me, you know, it can literally seem like that period of your life is gonna go on forever when you're feeling that level of despondent and despair. I wouldn't wish those feelings on anybody, even my worst enemies, because the worst part is when you do try to take action and change things, and nothing helps. So for me, I got into a rebound relationship after I had my 2 years of whatever, and I was even in this relationship while I was making these ridiculous, harassing phone calls, you could say. And I spent about 7 years of my life in and out of that relationship, just because I was basically beat up about the previous ex-girl. And I really cared about this person, but she had problems of her own that were way out of me being able to help. And when I made a choice that I was going to focus on myself and my life, things changed. And unfortunately, part of that was splitting up with this person. And I really had to go back to my experience from my first girlfriend, or I should say serious girlfriend. I had a lot of girlfriends when I was growing up young and stuff, but I guess you could say serious relationship as an adult. I had to say, she had to do what was best for her. It didn't feel good for me, but I got to do what's best for me, and it's probably not going to feel good for this person, but you know, the person doesn't own me. You know what I mean? And when you got to start thinking like that to break up with someone, you really got to look yourself in the mirror and say, man, how did I become so delusional? Thinking that you got to stay in a relationship for someone else's well-being. So I ended up breaking out, and she did take some revenge type actions against me to try to make my life in a tougher spot for me. And I knew that was probably going to happen. The way I look at it is I took a step back to take a few steps forward, and now 5 years later, I'm in the best place I've ever been in my life. I'm doing great. Mentally, I feel great. I'm super optimistic about everything. But the advice I want to give to everyone right now, and stop focusing on me, is just keep it up. Whatever you're doing that's making you believe, keep it up. Don't worry about the daily results. You're never going to do anything in one day that's going to make you think that 10 years worth of, I don't want to call them bad decisions, but 10 years of decisions that I guess led you to feeling how you're feeling, or 10 years of decisions that you're just not happy with the results. You're never going to change that in one day, 1 week, 1 month. So keep that in mind, that we got a lot of wildlife back here. And it's natural for people to not want to talk openly and freely if they feel like people are listening to them. People don't want to be judged, but I feel like what I got to say right now should be heard, because I'll admit, when I was down on my luck, I would always pull up a YouTube video with some keywords, just looking for any inspiration. So don't give up. Just realize, if you're watching this video right now, realize you have an opportunity to make a change. You're never gonna clean up the mess that you made faster than it took to make that mess. Generally, you spill a glass of milk on the floor, what does it take? A millisecond to drop that glass? It may take you 5 minutes to clean it up, get all the sticky stuff off the floor. So, using that analogy in our lives, like, we may mess things up, pretty quickly, 6 months worth of living, where it may take 2 years to fix that, to move on. And this is just generalized stuff. This isn't even, breaking down exact issues and, understanding that, every action has an opposite and equal reaction. So, I guess to, round this video out, I just want to tell every one of you that's watching this, I believe in you. You are my brothers and sisters on this planet, and anything I can do, you can do. And vice versa. Anything you can do, I can do. Everyone does have their physical limitations, so you can't be delusional and try to do things that are out of your physical limitations. But what you can do is realize what your strengths are. Don't be in denial. We all have weaknesses. Identify your weaknesses and stay away from any type of activity that, promotes your weaknesses, and find out what your strengths are. And, try to do activities or get a job where your strengths are good, because if you focus on your weaknesses, technically you're always going to feel like you're not good at something. And we're all not good at stuff, but if you focus on what you're good at and you spend your time doing stuff you're good at, eventually, the returns will come. So, just don't give up. Do not ever give up on yourself. It's the worst thing you can do. And giving up it's not about physical action. It's about a mental decision. And you may give up 1,000,000,000 times mentally, but, I was talking to my mom earlier, and I said, you think you make one decision and that's final, but that's not how it works. Like, you have to make lots of little decisions to enforce that one major decision. For instance, when I split up with, the second girlfriend, yeah, I made a final decision that this is it. This is the major decision, but I could have made a decision the next day to drive over to her house and hang out. I had to make a lot of little decisions not to make those calls, not to take a call, not to check my emails, not to drive by where we used to live. Little things. So, just remember, when you make big life-changing decisions, nothing's final. You might have to make a lot of little decisions to keep enforcing that major decision. And, again, the results aren't always going to show instantaneously. So I want everybody to, spend a lot of time looking forward and stop looking backwards. You literally cannot do anything to change the past. You can think about it, you can learn from it, you can try to break it down, think about what you might have done differently, but it means nothing. Think about what you're going to do in the future. Spend your time thinking about what you're doing going forward, something you can affect. But I'll tell you this, you're never going to change what happened in the past. It is impossible. So, until the next video, I know we didn't get through much motivational stuff in terms of, really getting into the thick of things, actual things you can implement, but, I just think having a positive mindset, also, being, don't be in denial. Like, you may need a helping hand, you may need a crutch, I have lots of crutches in my life, I'll just hold this up. Everybody knows what this is and what this helps, you got to do what you got to do. And remember, a tool is a tool. But if you use a tool for the wrong reasons, that tool can hurt you. So in terms of, smoking pot, a lot of people talk about pot being medically good and this and that, and that's all good. It does have, lots of benefits, but you can abuse anything. So just remember, don't abuse whatever you're using as a tool and think that just because it's a tool that your tool isn't working because you're not using it for the right job. You know, if you're trying to smoke yourself into motivation and to get away from your problems, it's never going to happen. You know, you may have, like I said, take a couple steps back to move forward. You may have to quit smoking for a week or two just to get in that mindset. We all know that, people smoke pot, because it gets you chill. It makes you have a freer mind, and it allows you to kind of just exist rather than, being stuck in your mind and, living in that complex thinking mind we got. It's a very deep, dark place sometimes. So, don't be afraid to try new things, So, I think that's going to be all for today's video. I hope each and one of you have a great day. It's Sunday, about noon on Memorial Weekend. It's beautiful here right now. I'm going to give you a little walkthrough of the place where we're taking this video right now. Let's see here. We got... My sister has a really nice garden in the back here. We got a nice little fireplace. This is how we live up in northern Minnesota here. We got a nice little fireplace in the backyard. We got the riding mower here. What else do we got? We got the scarecrow. We got a big nice walnut tree. Welcome to the nut house. What else do we got here? We got a nice greenhouse here in the back. That's beautiful, alright? That's the nice greenhouse. Well, we know what's coming every winter. We got the snow. Well, I'm going to finish this one and start with another one. We will see you guys later.